Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including new Cybertruck leaks, new Tesla software features, Ford's $3 billion EV loss, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, Tesla is constantly refining their software, and it's one of the best parts of owning their cars. For the most part, regardless of how old your Tesla is, you'll always have the latest features that your hardware can support. The latest one here is an update for climate controls. Tesla has now shifted all vehicles to an invisible AC system with vent position adjusted on screen, and some of the benefits of this are that the software can have more automatic control of it. Not only can you have it save your vent positions to your driver profile, but Tesla can refine this system over time. One of the worst features of any climate system is that when you turn on the heater, cold air comes out for some time before the air has warmed up enough to be pushed through. Now in Tesla version 2023.6.9, along with finally adding 360-degree park assist to vehicles without ultrasonic sensors, Tesla has added a few features. First is climate system warming up. Quote, in situations where your vehicle is waiting for the air in the HVAC system to warm up before turning on the fan, your vehicle will now display warming up above the cabin temperature. This is an undocumented change, meaning Tesla did not put it in their release notes, and it's likely because it's such a small change. However, depending on where you live, it could have a big impact for you. Instead of needing your car to go through the process of blowing cold air until it warms up, the vehicle will simply say warming up, letting you know why there is a delay. Another undocumented change is that you are no longer able to get into another app when in reverse. Previously, the rear camera would automatically pop up on reverse, but if you tapped into music, it would disappear. Quote, while the vehicle is in reverse, the reverse camera will now remain on the screen at all times. Most apps will now be grayed out and temporarily unavailable while the vehicle is in reverse. This is another small change, but a good one for safety. At the same time, Tesla has updated their browser to be based on the most recent version of Chrome, version 109. This should make it more reliable with less bugs, faster speeds, and support of newer web standards. Still, I wouldn't get my hopes up that high for this browser, but we'll see. According to Not a Tesla app, 2% of the fleet has updated to this version, so it's being pushed out right now and should be arriving on your car in the next couple weeks if you have one. It's always great to see these small updates, and they truly stack up over time. Next up today, Tesla's Gigafactory Berlin has finally reached its huge milestone of 5,000 cars produced in a single week. Tesla tweeted a video of their Berlin factory in action, saying, Giga Berlin hits 5,000 builds a week, 1 year after delivering the first vehicles to customers. We had heard in February that they had produced 4,000 Model Ys per week, so now right around a month later, they have increased that even further. It's a huge milestone, and it is exactly what Tesla has been aiming for some time at this factory. With this new milestone, if they're able to maintain it, it would mean that factory can now produce 250,000 Model Ys each year, and should be on track to do that going forward. The interesting thing here is that the original plan was for this car to be a 4680 Model Y, but Tesla changed gears and even moved their 4680 production plans to the US after recent tax incentive changes. Currently, they're making the 2170 Model Y, but they're approved to produce 500,000 vehicles per year in Berlin. Soon, we could see them introduce that 4680 Model Y with batteries sourced from the US, but I personally doubt this for now. They've scaled up well with the 2170 Model Y. Instead, we could see them add a new model to the factory, like the refreshed Model 3 we expect to see in Q3, or simply ramp beyond 5,000 Model Ys a week. The Model Y is their most popular car, and they have really been successfully ramping lately, so that could be the path that they take here before moving on to anything else. Giga Berlin and Texas, for that matter, have seen a lot of delays, but it seems that Tesla is really finding their stride right as they have been able to drop prices. It's impressive to watch, especially as they continue ramping up Texas, Shanghai, and Fremont, and soon plan to break ground on Giga Mexico. By the way, Tesla makes some great cars, but there are many easy ways to improve them. If you own a Tesla Model 3 or Y, you can check out my latest Tesla accessory recommendations in the video linked up here or in the description below. At the same time that Tesla is ramping up, we can see them continuing to push incentives to drive more customers to their more expensive vehicles. Recently, they dropped the price of the Model S by $5,000 and the Model X by $10,000. Since the refresh, these are the cheapest these cars have been, and Tesla also added a few new features. The Model S starts under $90,000 for the first time in a while, with Plaid at $109,990. The Model X, on the other hand, starts just under $100,000, with Plaid coming in the same as the Model S Plaid. As for the new features, Tesla added a new ultra red paint option, a high visibility glass roof they say lets in 5 times more light with the same heat and UV protections, high performance brakes, and the round steering wheel option. Interestingly enough, you can configure a Model S or X with the round wheel, and it's the default option there now, or you can retrofit your car with it. But that retrofit is already sold out. It seems a lot more people don't want the yoke after all. In any case, in Tesla's end of quarter push, they are now yet again offering 10,000 free supercharger miles for deliveries of the Model S and X. This is the second quarter in a row that Tesla has offered this incentive. Overall, it depends on your use, but it's important to keep in mind that these supercharger miles do expire. This time around, it doesn't seem like Tesla is about to drop prices extremely. It seems they're trying to incentivize deliveries to finish out this quarter, and it will disappear come April 1st, but anything could happen. Next up today, one of the most impressive things about Tesla is their profitability. They have better profit margins than any other car company, and that's when comparing Tesla's electric vehicle sales to the sales of any other car. This is particularly remarkable due to the high cost of a battery pack. Tesla is having to find ways to cost cut for EVs to come down in price, and while they're doing that, many think that other automakers already have them beat or will soon. What we're really seeing though is that other brands are losing money on each EV they sell. It's exciting that GM sells the Bolt at an affordable price, but that doesn't actually mean much for them achieving a low-cost EV, considering they were losing about $9,000 per sale when that car was $36,620. Seemingly, they lose even more now that the car is even cheaper. GM plans to be profitable on EVs by 2025, but usually when we compare legacy automakers to dedicated EV companies like Tesla, Rivian, or Lucid, it's hard to know the full story. We look at Rivian and see that they lost a whopping $6.8 billion in 2022. We see that Lucid lost $2.6 billion in 2022. Then we don't hear about these huge numbers from Ford, GM, VW, or others, so we assume that they have EVs figured out in a way only legacy automakers could. Well, that's about to change. Ford is going to start reporting their EV startup unit, Model E, separately from their other businesses. And this year, for 2023, they expect that business to lose $3 billion. In 2022, that business lost $2.1 billion, just a bit less than Lucid and less than a third of Rivian. Some quick math shows that they lost $21,875 per EV delivery in 2022, compared with Tesla making over $10,000 per delivery in 2022. What we're seeing very clearly here is that Ford is in a very similar position to Lucid or Rivian. They have certain advantages, but they are still trying to figure out the puzzle of making profitable EVs at scale, even as they're shipping the Mach-E and Ford F-150 Lightning, both solid products in their segments. Quote, Ford's CEO Jim Farley has acknowledged the automaker needs to cut costs and streamline production to remain competitive. Their goal is for profitability come 2026, 3 years from now. Quote, by late 2026, Ford expects its EV business to turn a pre-tax profit. They want to achieve that while making 2 million EVs a year by then. As always, it's great to see other automakers scaling up electric vehicles, but this is a very clear illustration of how difficult it is and why Tesla has such a lead here. Tesla has already been profitable, and Ford is still planning to lose $3 billion on their EV business this coming year. At the same time as well, they aren't quite scaling how many expected. The Chevy Bolt EV is actually on track to overtake the Mach-E in sales. They're different vehicles for sure, but this is very interesting to see considering the expected popularity of the Mustang Mach-E. What I'm very curious to see is what GM's numbers will look like next year. They are planning to introduce a ton of new EVs later this year and next, so the assumption is they'll similarly be losing billions as they work towards profitability on all of these cars. They're also trying an approach of making many different vehicles, whereas Tesla and now Ford understand that simplification is key here. At the same time as well, the first couple cars on this platform have been slower than expected to roll out, leading some to say their EV output is stalling before it's even truly started. I'm very curious to see that play out and see those EVs hit the road. Tesla is very profitable and constantly adjusting their pricing to demand in order to keep their steady stream of increasing production capacity selling. At the same time, they're working on huge innovations for things like their next generation vehicle platform, which they unveiled at Investor Day. This, along with everything Elon talks about, will take some time, but Tesla does deliver, and they're years ahead of any competition when it comes to scaling profitable EVs. Next up from Tesla should be the Cybertruck, and we actually have some updates there. We've seen a ton of Cybertruck prototypes in the last few weeks, both at Tesla events and spotted in the wild. Last we heard, Tesla was in the process of taking delivery of another Gigapress for the Cybertruck at Giga Texas. It's the second 9,000-ton Gigapress we've seen Tesla setting up there, and it's a sign that they're starting to beef up their production line in anticipation of it entering initial production. Now we may have a new update on the truck's storage space. At the Unveil event back in 2019, we briefly saw a small storage space on the side of the bed that looks like a place where you can store fishing rods or other flat, long cargo. We didn't hear much about this though, and haven't seen this compartment in use in a prototype until now. Tesla Mania posted a photo of the official T-Zone magazine from Tesla China showing off this feature. This sail pillar storage rendering looks very similar to the one we saw at the initial unveil. This is just a rendering and not an actual photo of the feature or a prototype, but it would be odd if they decided to include this rendering in their official magazine if they weren't intending to follow through with it at this point. The Cybertruck is very close to entering production, so I don't think it's likely that they would advertise a feature that they'd plan to drop. At the same time, Tesla could just be finally publishing the original photos they took of the Cybertruck, and things have changed since then, so we'll have to see, but hopefully they're retaining this storage space. Next up today, used car prices have fallen significantly over the last 6 months, and that's made the Model 3 more affordable than we've seen in a long time. Over the last few years, we've seen EV makers struggle to keep up with the increasing demand for EVs. Because of that, EV prices, especially Tesla's, shot up last year, and used cars followed suit. At one point, used Tesla Model Y prices were actually higher than new Model Ys. That may have been a phenomenon brought on by longer wait times for new Model Ys, but it definitely demonstrated just how eager customers were to get their hands on this car. In December, though, used car prices finally started to come down, though, with Tesla starting to offer discounts at the end of the quarter ahead of the new federal EV tax credit that went into effect in January. Then, after the IRS implemented new MSRP price caps, restricting the Model Y to a $55,000 cap, Tesla famously slashed their prices. Across the board, new Teslas were now up to $13,000 cheaper overnight, even $21,000 cheaper for the Model S, leaving many owners furious, and many soon-to-be owners very excited. That also impacted used prices, of course, and a new IC Cars report found a 4.7% decrease for the entire used car segment over the last 6 months, and an 8.7% decrease since last year. In the lead for the largest decrease is the Model 3. Since the Model 3's peak price last year, its used price has come down 21.5%. On average, that's a decrease of over $11,000 for a used Model 3. The whole used EV segment has seen a decrease as well, but has only gone down by an average of 13.9% since last year. The average price of a used Model 3 is now $41,337, about $1,600 below its new price before tax credits. In second place for EVs is the Nissan Leaf at an impressive $25,735, which is about $2,300 under its new price before tax credits. If we look at the used vehicles that increased the most, leading the category are luxury brands like Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, and Cadillac. Of the top 10 used vehicles that decreased the most, though, 2 are electric and 2 are hybrids, so this is exciting news for those who have been wanting to make the switch. EVs have historically maintained their high prices in the face of enormous demand, but that might finally be changing. This definitely makes sense because each year the used electric car market increases as owners of new EVs upgrade or end their leases. It's showing an increase in supply, and that's great news for the average car buyer. Last up today, some updates about other automakers. Ford last week unveiled what they call their Project T3. It's their next generation pickup truck and is set to be produced at the Blue Oval City Mega Campus in West Tennessee in 2025. Regarding that facility, Ford said, "We will build revolutionary electric vehicles at an advanced manufacturing site that works in harmony with the planet, aligning business growth and innovation with environmental progress. This new truck is, quote, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to revolutionize America's truck," according to Ford's CEO Jim Farley. Currently, Ford makes the F-150 Lightning, but it seems that this truck may be built from the ground up to be electric. T3 is actually their code name for the project, standing for Trust the Truck, the rallying cry for the development team making this next generation vehicle. Great to see Ford working on a future optimized electric truck, and I'm excited to see what this may become. As we talked about earlier, this will be much more important than the F-150 Lightning unless they find a way to make that car profitable. Over at Lucid, they have added Apple CarPlay and Android Auto support in their new over-the-air update. This now comes as a standard feature on all of their cars and is a welcomed update for many owners. Like Tesla and Rivian, Lucid has pushed their own software in their cars and sometimes leaves certain features to be desired. For myself in the Rivian R1T, I hardly ever want to truly rely on the integrated maps, so I imagine similar could be happening here. In any case, they tweeted about it in a short video announcing the feature, mainly showing off the CarPlay capability. This could be directly targeting Tesla owners or future Tesla buyers who really see CarPlay as an essential feature. As for whether or not this will finally make Tesla add this feature, I still find it extremely unlikely, quickly, although Tesla is now offering incentives for the Model S and X and seems to need to be creating demand for those cars. At the same time, Lucid is recalling 637 Lucid Airs because their electric motors may shut down. According to Lucid, only 6% of the recalled vehicles are estimated to have the problem. Quote, "The problem is caused by the electrically activated contact switches, or contactors, which may unexpectedly open. Since the contactors transfer energy to the electric motors, power to the electric motors will be cut off if that happens. Lucid plans to fix this issue by updating the vehicle software and replacing contact switches as necessary at Lucid service centers." That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see all the new features coming to the refreshed Model 3, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.